And I'm really excited to do this introduction with someone with whom I shared a few years here at Mercersburg Academy. Joffie Richards, class of 2003. To give an intro to her presentation, the background is that media and advertising have displayed false ideals of the perfect body for years. Social media has furthered the problem of adding anxiety and diminishing an individual's self-worth. Gabrielle Richards, class of 2003, is a brand director for Shapermint, a size-inclusive supportive wear brand, and BodCon, the #1 body confidence community in the world. As a licensed body-positive coach, she has worked significantly with brands that help empower men and women to feel confident within their skin. While in college, Gabrielle noticed a lack of emphasis on body positivity within the fashion industry. This helped pique her interest in owning her narrative and developing an education within the body positive and acceptance space. Today, Gabrielle will present her work and experience in these fields. With more than 10 years of beauty, wellness, and fashion branding experience, Gabrielle has worked with many major brands. In 2017, she launched the Round the Way Girl, a curvy fashion and body-positive website that serves as a resource for her followers. In 2020, she transitioned her lifestyle brand into Gab Positive, a safe space where her community can gab, see what she did there? About confidence. Besides being a brand director for Shapermint and the BodCon, she also serves as an on-air certified QVC guest host for Shapermint Essentials. Gabrielle holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Dickinson College, a master's degree in fashion design from Drexel University, and a certificate in marketing strategy from Cornell University. Thank you, and let's give a round of applause to Gabrielle Richards.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I was like, wow, I did all of that. No, I'm so excited to be back home, back here with you all. I've been able to connect with many of you about your own journeys, and I'm so impressed. Fifth year reunion class, you guys are super impressive. Keep up the good work. But no, in all honesty, it just feels good to be back in a place where I learned a lot about myself and was able to become more confident, which a lot of those tools I have been able to carry on throughout my career. So if I get a little choked up, it's because I'm so happy to be back. This is my 20th year reunion, and for a long time, and Shots, you may not know this, but I didn't feel ready to be back because I said if I was gonna come back, I wanna come back knowing that I've created an impact on my community and have Mercersburg be proud of me, okay? Now I know you guys have always been proud, but that's just an inner confidence thing that I had to work on. So I'm super excited today to be presenting Love Your Body. As you guys just heard, I am a licensed body positive coach, as well as a brand director of confidence boosting brands. I've been working within this space for 10 plus years. I started off in primarily beauty and have transitioned quite nicely into the fashion space. So to discuss confidence and a confidence journey, I need to explain to you all about my journey, because it's been quite a journey. It's been quite a ride. So I am from Jamaica, Queens, New York, and I was one of those kids in school that would remind a teacher, hey, we were supposed to have a test today. I was that girl in class. I loved school. I loved learning. And early on, I knew that I had to succeed. I didn't have any other choice. I'm first generation college. My parents, I definitely came from humble beginnings. My dad worked in sanitation. My mom was fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home mom. And when I was going to elementary school, it was called Thurgood Marshall. We had a principal there. And she empowered me to go into a program called Philston Enrichment Program, where we would go to school on Saturdays and then go to school for the summer. So I'm inner city, I'm from Queens. I would commute 2 hours to the Bronx. For those of you who know, that's quite a ride, taking the bus, the subway, but I saw a vision. I knew where I wanted to go. While I was in the Fieldston Enrichment Program, I was fortunate enough to get into a program called A Better Chance, and that's when I discovered Mercersburg. I remember my mom driving me 5 hours to Mercersburg to visit, and she kept saying, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to come here? Are you sure?" I was like, "Mom, this is the only way." "Yes, I'm sure." I remember going into the cafeteria, the dining hall, and I just thought it was magical. It looked so beautiful, so pristine, and I wanted to be a part of that. So when I got accepted to Mercersburg, I remember my first 2 weeks there, and Zach, I'm happy you're in the audience because we're the same year. I was scared. I was so scared because I didn't look like anyone else. And I was so in my head. I remember I had long braids. I had my fashions were from New York. I was very much so New York at the time. And I realized about 3 weeks later, nobody cared. That was me. That was me in my head, me thinking about my appearance. While at Mercersburg, and you guys are all alums, so you know this, you have to participate in a few activities. So I said, okay, if I'm gonna be 5 hours from home, I'm gonna do it all. So I first tried swimming. Some of you don't know this. I can't swim. And I wanted to be on the dive team, and I can't swim. So I climb up to the diving board, and I just jump high and go in the water, and I'm just there. About a minute, they pull me out. And the coach at the time, because remember, we're very inclusive, so if you want to try something, they're going to let you do it. He's like, "Do you think that maybe there's something else that you want to try?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I think so," right? After I almost drowned in this water, right? So I took up volleyball, and at the time, my advisor, Dr. Pethel, she was the coach, and so I was not good, but I was on the team. I was on the team for 4 years. I was never good for 4 years. My senior year, I made it to varsity because that was the mandate, right? But besides volleyball, I played squash, which I was pretty decent at. I don't know how, but I was. And then I played lacrosse. Now, this sport, I had never heard of lacrosse. Couldn't even spell it, okay? All I know is when I was in the hallway, I heard girls talking about going to Florida for spring break. And I was like, "Hey, I want to go to Florida for spring break. Well, what do I need to do?" They're like, "Well, you need to be on the team." So I go to the coach, Jillian Neese at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I want to play lacrosse." And she's like, "Okay, can you run?" "No, I'm not athletic at all, but, I want to go to Florida." So I chose the position nobody wanted at the time, and I was a goalie. Just so happened, I became a good goalie. I was really good, and I'm not even trying to toot my own horn, guys. I was really, really good at that position. Why? At the time, and I think this is one of the really great things about Mercersburg, they think outside the box. They hired a visualization coach. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's a coach that comes in and you meditate, so to speak, right? And you think about yourself on the field. So I would think of myself, I would close my eyes. I'm 5'2", I've always been short. The cage is 6 feet. And I would visualize myself saving the shot, okay? In grass, which I did not like, but sucked it up. And I would envision myself being a team player, saving that shot, being that first line of offense, that first line of defense, owning that field. And that was essential in my whole trajectory of my career, visualization, which directly plays a part in your confidence. So after Mercersburg, I went to Dickinson, and I was so excited to meet President John last night. And I walked up to the coach there and said, "Hey, I want to play lacrosse. I'm pretty good." Did the whole same speech. And she was like, "Okay, well, we need to test you out because, nobody just walks on." Granted, it was D3, but at Dickinson, we thought we were Olympic players, okay? We were very serious about lacrosse at Dickinson. So I tried out. She said, "You are good, but your form is not." So we're gonna hire a coach, a goalie coach, which they did, and they got me ready to be great, okay? I played at Dickinson for 4 years. I started all 4 years. I broke a lot of records, became captain my senior year. And again, inner city kid from Jamaica, Queens, New York, first generation college, didn't know how to spell lacrosse, excelling in a sport where I didn't see anybody else that looked like me. If I did, we did the whole nod like, you here too? And it was so great, okay? While at Dickinson, I was on the path of becoming a lawyer because I thought that's what I wanted to do, right? In a Caribbean household, you become a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, not anything in fashion, okay? And I was holding the weight on my shoulders of my entire family, which I thought. So I studied abroad in Spain, and Amy, you were my first Spanish teacher here at Mercersburg, and I minored in Spanish, and I went to Malaga, Spain my junior year. While I was there, the agreement was with my parents that I would study for the LSATs, right? Because I was gonna be a lawyer, so you need to take the test and do all those things. While I was in Spain, I was so amazed of how confident the men and women were in Spain. The colors, the vibrantness, if that's a word. They were wearing reds and blues, and it just felt so good. So I started illustrating because when I was here at the Berg, I realized that I can draw, but I never really tapped into the art side of things, and was super inspired to go on into a career of the arts. So when I came back to New York, after my summer abroad in Spain, I told my parents, like, hey, I'm gonna be the next big fashion designer. Mom's like, what? They don't make money. I was like, Mom, you're wearing Louis Vuitton. I could be like the next Louis Vuitton. So that sold her. She said, okay, I believe you. If that's what you really wanna do, you've gotten it right so far. You've always knew where you wanted to go. You wanted to go to Mercersburg, we support it, we made that happen. You wanted to go to Dickinson, we support it, we made it happen. So I applied to Drexel. They had a master's program especially for people that didn't study fashion or the art, but wanted to have a career within it. And when I was speaking to Kathy Martin, she was the director at the time, why I want to attend Drexel, I said because I want to make an impact on fashion, because I don't see anyone that looks like me on the covers. I don't see a lot of size-inclusive options in the store. And at the time, I didn't use the word size-inclusive because that wasn't a thing. But I just wanted to make an impact. And so I got accepted, which was really exciting. So right after Dickinson, I went straight into Drexel. I started in their summer program. I was there for 3 years. I coached lacrosse the first year at Drexel. Philly girls, they go in. Oh, the lacrosse, I should say that. And while I was at Drexel, I had an internship at MTV. And this was in the wardrobe department. Now, some of you younger folks, you guys don't know about TRL, but it was a big deal, okay? So I see one of the Shaws. I don't know, Ripple or Rechna. Ripple! So TRL was a big deal. That's something you watched all the time. And I worked in the wardrobe department. I would help style the video DJs. And I styled the men specifically. And that's when I learned early on that men also too struggle with their self-image and with their body image, where I would often have to convince the guys to wear certain things, wear certain colors, wear lavender, brings out your eyes. And I realized that I was very good at persuasion, and I was very good with people, and I realized, I was like, maybe I want to go into like marketing or PR. So still figuring it out. I graduated from Drexel in 2010, and it was during the recession. So my dreams of being like the next Louis Vuitton was cut very short. It was very difficult for me to find a career within the fashion space. And I thought it's because I didn't look the part. So I started to internalize the rejection. And because of that, it negatively impacted my self-esteem. My big light that I had at a very young age started to fizzle. Me coming back to the Berg, that was out of the question because I saw myself as a failure, okay? I saw myself as somebody who had all this prestigious education, and I'm unable to really live my dream. So I started to think outside the box. I started working in retail, and I think anybody who's worked in retail knows it's a great way to connect with people, to understand what they're looking for. You're able to style them. So I worked at Antella Law for a few years and loved it, and started to do some random internships here and there, and then landed an opportunity to work for a beauty brand. This was a startup company. It was a very unique business model. They retailed premium hair extensions and catered specifically to women of color. Before this brand existed, just to paint a picture of what women would face, when they wanted to wear hair extensions, they would have to go into a local beauty supply store, and there wasn't a lot of options, and the hair was normally behind a glass wall. So it was a very restrictive experience. So this brand, Indique Hair, decided to create these beautiful boutiques in major cities. So at the time, it was one in Soho, New York, and then one in Boston. So I came in quickly. I was an intern. Matter of 3 months, I became a marketing associate, because one thing is, I know how to persuade, I know how to sell, I was pretty stylish, and I was passionate on making an impact on people, which I was able to do at that brand. I worked there for about 8 years. We started off with 2 stores. When I left, we had 16 locations, 2 in South Africa. That's how I ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, because we decided to take over the South, and fell in love with Atlanta. And I was like, okay, this is home for me. And it was amazing. My last big campaign was with Shaka Khan. And when you talk about somebody with confidence, she's the epitome of that. And it was really great to work with her and bring that together. But then here comes the pandemic, okay? That changed everyone's lives, right? And I'm sure that impacted how you felt about yourself. Because I don't know about you all, but when the pandemic started, I went to the grocery store, got everything, all the snacks. The first week goes by, I eat all the snacks, okay? 2 weeks go by, I get more snacks, eat all the snacks. So then my body changed significantly. I looked very different from pre-pandemic to after the pandemic to now, okay? And so I bring up that point because everybody, I'm sure, at some point or another have struggled with their body image, have struggled with their self-esteem, have struggled with their self-worth, and all of that combined impacts your confidence. So during the pandemic, my husband and I, we got married March 1st of 2020. And we're like, okay, now the world just shut down, what do? We both worked remotely at the time. So we're like, let's move out the country. Let's go to Miami. Miami is like no other place out there, right? I was able to tap into my Spanish a little bit in Miami, but that's when I was recruited for the Trafilia Group, which is the parent company of Shapermint, True Kind, Shapermint Essentials, the BodCon, Revel Beauty, and the Spa Doctor. I was brought in as a senior brand manager to help the rebrand of the Shapermint brand because they wanted to promote body positivity and confidence and make a product that actually feels good. So they're known for their really great shape enhancing everyday essentials. But I said to them, if I'm really going to be an advocate and work here at this company and essentially become a spokesperson, I need to do my homework. Because until then, I was a self-proclaimed body positive advocate. So anything that I'm saying, I'm like, I need to come correct with my facts. So I took a course at the Body Positive org and learned that body positivity had very, very little to do with how you look on your outer appearance and everything to do with how you feel on the inside. And so that allowed me to help change my whole perception of myself, and also, too, what type of communication that I write for others to see. So that's my confidence journey right now. I'm gonna go in a little bit of my struggles. So growing up, I did struggle with how my body appeared. I've always been curvy. I've always been the thickest in the room. And that really, really impacted my self-esteem. I thought I wasn't good enough. And because of my personality, I always want to be the best. I just can't help it, right? But over time, I began to realize that my worth was not tied to my physical appearance. I started to embrace my body, which allowed me to also figure out what is my style, what's my aesthetic, what is the joy that I want to bring to others. And I started to realize it had nothing to do with my shape. So I mentioned earlier, I started working in the fashion and beauty industries, and I saw how negative body image can impact people's lives. Because I wanted to make a difference, and I continue to want to make a difference, I am doing my work through the Trophilia Group. And I encourage, especially the younger folks in the audience, any work you do that is your career, make sure you're aligning it to what your internal mission is. It will make it feel less like work and more like fun. And I know it sounds a little corny, but it's true. Okay, there you go. So through my work, I've learned that body confidence is so much more than physical appearance. And I have this little S here. Yeah, the S stands for shaperment, but the reason why we designed it this way is because to become confident, you have to be on a journey. The confidence journey is not a straight line. It's gonna kind of look like that road coming into Mercersburg. Those hills, right? There's gonna be some ups, some downs, some going back, some going forward. It's never going to be just a straight and easy pathway. Some days you're gonna have really good ones. You're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna say, I got it going on. And then some days you're gonna look in the mirror and just say not so many good things about yourself. And what I tell folks that I coach, every day, try to create a ritual. So the reason why a lot of us excelled at Mercersburg is because we had routines that we followed every day, right? You wake up at a certain time, you eat at a certain time, you have your activities at a certain time, and so over a time, you're just doing it and not realizing it. I mean, I still have dinner at 6 p.m. I can't help it, okay? And that's the same too with training yourself on how to become more confident with yourself. What I personally do every day, I journal. Okay, I try to write a few good things of what I'm happy about, but I also write a few things that I'm not so jazzed about because, again, every day is not roses. You're gonna have some down days. Then I also try to write a few positive affirmations on Post-its and place it on my mirror. And I say, you're amazing. Girl, you're like Oprah. I don't write that, but I should start. But no, that's really helpful because then you create a positive routine. And for those of you who have children or are teachers or deal with younger people, if they see you creating this positive routine, they too might pick up on that and create a more positive relationship with themselves. Okay. So why does confidence matters? And I did not cite my source, so guys, don't ask me questions after this, like where did this come from? It came from a good source, I promise you. So 85% of women reported being unhappy with their bodies. 70% of women withdraw from activities due to their body image. So 70%. So think about the young students here in Mercersburg that, they have to do activities and some want to do dancing and they feel like their body isn't up to par. They probably fall in that group. 50% of women express body dissatisfaction. 80% of women are dissatisfied with their body image, contributing to negative self-esteem and mental health issues. There are several common pain points that many women face when it comes to body confidence and self-esteem. And I do want to highlight, this is not just a problem for women. It's a problem for all people. And it's not a fat problem. And we've reclaimed the word fat, so I could use it, right? But body confidence impacts all people, all shapes, all sizes, all ethnicities. And the reason why this can be is unrealistic beauty standards. So what we see in the media. Social media comparison. So there's that FOMO, right? But then there's also, you see people on social and they're living their best lives and you're like, dang, I wish I was there. Or you see how they look and you're like, oh, I could never wear that. Weight stigma, body shaming, Post-pregnancy body changes, and this is a big one, right? Whether you have children or not, as you age, your body changes. Why? Because your body is a vessel to get you from point A to Z, and your body is all you have. So whether how you treat it, right? Because my knee, I tried to do CrossFit, wasn't for me, and so I have really bad knee issues. So even me going up the stairs, I'm just like, can't do this. But this is my only body, so I try to protect my body, right? From what I'm feeding my body on the inside to what I'm telling my brain, okay? Which would then impact my outer appearance, okay? And my knee, pray for my knee, y'all. Objectification and lack of diversity. So, we live in a society that places a lot of pressure on us looking a certain way, and it's easy to internalize those messages. But it's important to remember that you're not the problem. The problem is these unrealistic beauty standards that's constantly being pushed on us. So out of these clippings, I want to talk about Lizzo. I don't know if you guys know who Lizzo is, but she's a very popular singer. She wears a leotard like Beyonce. She has big hair like Beyonce. She sings very well like Beyonce. But she's close to giving up on everyone and quitting her music career. Because when she's dancing on stage in her leotard, playing her flute, people are saying, how are you still fat? Like, this is real. Like, this happened a few days ago. How are you still fat? You're getting on stage, you're dancing. Why do you still look this way? Oh, you must eat a lot of fast food. Well, Lizzo replies back, actually, y'all, I gave up fast food a long time ago. I work out. I have the best chefs. I dance. But I am still fat, and I'm okay with that. And I am sick of people talking about my appearance. So I say that to say, when we speak to each other, when we're addressing one another, instead of saying, hey, you look this, and I'm guilty of it, by the way, say, how do you feel? It's a very different conversation, right? It takes less pressure off of that outer appearance and helps to tap in more on who that person is that you're communicating with. And that goes to the same vein of what you're writing on social media to one another, or what you're seeing people saying to one another. All of those things matter. So this past April, as you guys heard earlier, I am a guest host on QVC. And I say, okay, I'm living my grandma's dream. Like, this is a big deal, right? I'm on air in front of millions of people, selling products, only for about 7 minutes. Well, this past April, I participated in something called Today's Special Value, where you go on air for 24 hours. Okay, your first show is 1 hour. So mind you, we're all just used to 5 minutes, 7 minutes, right? So this takes mental stamina, okay? This takes you tapping into all of that energy that you had and channeling and visualizing what you need to do to succeed, right? So there was a lot of money on the table for this opportunity, right, for my job. I'm the spokesperson and the brand director at the same time, and one of my bosses, he said to me, what are you most nervous about? I said, I don't want to look bad. That was my honest answer. I don't want to look bad because I'm going to be on air for 24 hours. I'm worrying about my hair, my makeup, my bulge in my stomach. And mind you, I was selling shapewear, right? So that would have solved the tummy issue. But he said to me, if you focus on your mission and the impact that you want to leave, all of that other stuff is just chatter. And I said, that's great advice. So what I did that day, I started at midnight, actually. I had to take before shots, so showing how I look without the product on. And, I wear a lot of my weight in my midsection. And the producers were like, yeah, this is great, right? Because they're excited because they're selling. They're in the business of selling. So if you see a good before and after, that performs well. So in my before, it was pretty pronounced. I was like, I hope this is a good after because this before. So during the segment, I'm wearing the product, and I stand to the side, and I say to everyone, I was like, This is me. I'm wearing this product. I feel great. I look good in this before shot, by the way, but I feel great in this after shot, okay? So you see how I changed my language. And the producers, they're speaking in your ear while you're doing the segment. And they're like, do your before and after again. Do it again, do it again. And so I just keep going back and saying it again and telling people how I feel, not how I look, because they can see how I look, right? But they can't touch the product. They can't touch me. They can only hear me say how I feel. And that was super successful. I did this show probably about 10 times in a medley. I slept at QVC that night. They give you like your own green room. And that took confidence, okay? That took incredible confidence for me to be vulnerable with something that I struggled with at a very young age, of thinking that I was too fat, okay? Thinking I was too black, thinking my hair was too wild. And on TV, they celebrated me for all of those things. And I realized, again, I was in my head. And the world just wanted to see me shine, right? So how can brands make a difference? And the reason why I have brands is because we all, whether we work for a company or own our own companies or are our own companies, you're a brand. And we all have a duty to make impact through the messaging we create, through the visuals we design, through the relationships that we build. So I want to empower you all to think about a few things when you are working on these types of campaigns. So there's a video that I actually want to play. This is our recent Mother's Day campaign.
I feel like moms can do anything. Like, I feel like we're superheroes. We're the ultimate multitaskers. We're the ultimate caregivers. We're the ultimate badasses.
As a society, we don't necessarily support moms as much as we can and as much as we should.
Taking care of this very important person that you've created, you need to take time for yourself and take care of yourself too.
I would define momfidence as loving yourself through the journey.
My body was a tool for my son, and I didn't recognize my body. I had to reconnect with my body.
One advice, it's okay. You don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be okay.
Advice that was given to me that I felt was very helpful was you can't pour from an empty cup.
I try to connect with a lot of moms, remind me of how powerful it is to take care of us.
Being a mom is one of the greatest joys that I've ever experienced so far.
Just because you're a mom, that doesn't mean that you cannot still be sexy and bold and wild and free and confident. If there's any reason that you feel that that's not the case, throw it out the window. And if you're feeling confident, show it off.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Kimberly.
I am Miriam.
I'm Jules, and I have momfidence.
So this was in partnership with the BodCon, which is a brand we've recently acquired, because we know as a company that we have a big opportunity to make real impact on the women who consume our product and the women who see us, okay? So the BodCon is a body confident platform that was started in 2021, I want to say. It was started as a event, virtual event, where they would tap a lot of thought leaders and influencers within the confidence space. And there's actually a lot of these people. And this event will help people feel more confident and more empowered by the end of it. And we were really, really excited about this community because, they're doing the work, and we realize, as a corporation that we can help scale this because we want confidence to be viral, okay? So at the BodCon, we provide education, resources, tools to help someone along their journey of body confidence. Now, we're not experts, so we tell everybody that we're learning together. It is a judgment-free, safe zone, okay? Sometimes on social media, you can't create that judgment-free, safe zone. So that is why I'm happy and proud to be a part of the BodCon. We created an app that we launched on March 5th, and it's called the BodCon app. And so if you guys can, please download this app, share it with men and women in your circle, because we're building a safe space where we can have real conversations, tapping along the lines of self-esteem, self-worth, and things of that nature. Right now, we're actually working on a docu-series where we're going to be hiring professionals within the space, some therapists, some influencers, some people from different walks of lives to unpack a lot of the issues that people have faced, that they've faced in their lives. And that's it. Thank you. So I don't know if any of you guys have questions, but I can answer a few questions. Absolutely. So when I was studying body positivity in the course I did, they actually have two different frameworks for younger students, for high schoolers, and then for college students, because they're experiencing very different stages in their lives, and there's certain words that's triggering for each group. And so the college folks, like, they're experiencing things like, you know, partying, dating, things that come with dating, sex, things of that nature. And so the way you speak to them is a bit different than how you communicate to the younger students. And also, too, we have to be mindful of what parents want you saying to their children. So there's two different business models that's been created for that reason. We also noticed that a lot of younger students experience eating disorders, and a lot of them don't even realize that they have this issue. So it really requires like licensed professionals, therapists, coaches to be involved in their lives, especially at the early stages of high school. I was really excited to be able to chat with Renata from DEI, Beth Gailey, the counseling team, because those are the exact types of resources our young men and women need while they're in a space, not with their parents, and sometimes they don't know that they're struggling with these things. And then, you know, when you go to college, a lot of that heightens. And so you have to be able to kind of speak to their language and, you know what's trending and be able to connect with them in a different way. Right now, we're targeting 18 and older. We're partnering with an organization called NADA, so this National Eating Disorder Association, so that they can properly train us and we can tap into their professionals so that we can speak to that audience. Right now, the BodCon is not going to cater to the younger demo. However, I do, so you guys need a resource. But no, it is really, really important. Like I said, a lot of the students don't even know what the word confidence is, what body dysmorphia is, and you know, some parents don't know either. So what I've seen is a lot of the high school programs that are created also provide tips and tricks for parents on how to talk to them, on something as simple as going to your doctor appointment and asking the doctor not to show you your weight. Like, that's something that can be triggering for young people and all people, but a lot of parents wouldn't even know that. So they try to provide those types of resources to help. Yeah, that's a great question, because our bread and butter, we are D2C, directly through e-commerce. And so helping someone determine their size is very important. But like you mentioned, we try not to be triggering. So we offer a size range of an extra small to a 4XL. And what we've done is create a fit guide. We call it the Fit Studio, where they go online and we have our influencers have video content explaining how to find your bra size or how to find your pant size. And we recommend that they use measuring tape to measure and use our size chart to find their size. But that's not the solution at all. And a lot of brands, we all have a lot of work in doing, helping find sizes. As you will notice, you'll go to a lot of different retailers, you'll be size 10 here, a size 12 here, a size 16 there, and it really depends on where it's being manufactured, where it's being produced, who was the fit models. So early on at Shapermint, we decided to use plus size fit models, and we thought it was a really, really good idea. However, a lot of our smaller sizes or straight sizes, it didn't fit properly. So on one way, we thought we were like making a change, and another way, it wasn't helpful. So now we have a wider range of fit models, and we do a lot of testing, and we use our research team to speak directly to our customer base, and they're super vocal on letting them explain to us how do our products fit. The great thing is, because a lot of our products have that shaping technology, it is very stretchy, so it can fit multiple sizes. We only go up to 4XL, so there is still a group of people that we're not able to cater to. And again, that deals with, at the end of the day, when you're a business, you're dealing with the production costs and things of that nature. So there's a lot of work to be done. In the perfect world, we would use tech, and a person could have their whole body scanned, and you could create the product. You younger folks, I empower you guys, the engineers in here, to do that. But I think that's the next wave of fashion, right? With the metaverse, with AI technology, of being able to create more size-inclusive sizing properly. And then also, we try to be very mindful on not using triggering words of, oh, it did not fit. Well, that's subjective. What does fit mean, for people, right? I don't know if you guys realize, but a few years ago, Victoria's Secret had to make a lot of change, right? Because there was a lot of inclusive brands coming out, besides Shapermint and Skims with Kim Kardashian. There's Yitty with Lizzo, and then there's Rihanna's brand, Savage Fenty, and her runway shows is super size inclusive, not even just size, but like different body elements and things of that nature, that she's super inclusive and representative. So that opened a lot of brands' eyeballs. Why? Because that directly impacted their bottom line. And so brands now are trying to become more mindful. So you're gonna start to see in the imagery, or even the mannequins in the stores are becoming a little bit more plus size, or you're seeing more images like this where there's a lot of different body shapes and a lot of different ethnicities being seen. Whether or not the intentions are good, visually, I'm excited that that change is happening, right? Because a lot of people, they don't know the inner workings of marketing and all of that. So they're just seeing these certain visuals. So the brands, they have to keep up. So what we've seen is that a lot of companies, a lot of our competitors, they're starting to use a lot of our language, right? Literally copying it verbatim. And we're like, amazing, because that was the whole reason why we started, to make an impact, not just on the customers we serve, but also the other brands that we work with. Because if everybody can make this go viral, it takes a lot of the work off of our hands, right? There's still so much more to be done, right? Because a lot of companies, again, at the end of the day, you need to make money to be successful, and you need to cater to certain demographics. When we did the BodCon event this past year, there was this incredible brand called Love Luxy, and she creates bras, but only for smaller sizes. And a few of the people listening to the event, they were like, and I was on the panel with her, great person who owns this brand. They said, well, you're not size inclusive. And she was like, well, let me tell you a little bit about my story. I had breast implants, I had an infection, I had to remove my implants, and I did not feel confident with my body. I went into stores like Victoria's Secret, and I didn't see great silhouettes or styles that were first size A to B. Just wasn't there. And they were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And she is catering on purpose to a certain group with the intention to eventually have the resources to expand her collection into larger sizes, but she's a small company. So I think with brands, it's one thing to just sell the product, but if you don't have your story behind it, the reason why, your purpose, your mission, your vision, if you don't have that really set in stone and concrete and authentic, then you're going to fail, right? You really would be that fish just washed up on the shore. So Spanx, they're a competitor, but I think they're doing a really good job with this. They have a collection dedicated to men. So they sell t-shirts, camis that have the compression technology in the midsection. Actually, my husband has one, and when we're going someplace important, he's like, let me get my Spanx. And I joke with him on that. So some brands are including more men, but Spanx, for example, like they're marketing to men. A lot of companies don't market, but men or non-gender forming people would still shop at companies like this and try to envision themselves in it, right? But because we are catering to women, we don't have the visuals to support. However, there is a great market for men, and you're going to see more brands explore that. But in order for a brand to be successful within that landscape, the education and the resources and tools need to be directed towards men as well. A lot of men don't think that they're a part of the confidence conversation. And I don't know about you guys, but when I see a man get a really great haircut, I see their whole outlook change, okay? I see my husband all the time. He's like, I look good. I was like, you do. So there's work to be done, but it's going to happen. You have to create that demand, right, for businesses to really invest in that market. But it's coming, slowly but surely. So funny story, every birthday, I'm 37 by the way, and my mom sends me a picture that says happy birthday, and it's a picture of me in my 30th birthday where I worked out a lot to look that way, and I'm probably about 50 pounds lighter in that picture, and I'm like, Mom, thanks, but you have to remind me of this. So, and then anybody that have iPhones, they send you your memories from back in the day, right? Or if you're on Facebook, you see those memories, and it's normally pics from sometimes your college days or 10 years ago. So how do I navigate that when that appears? I try to think of how did I feel when I was in that picture, and how do I feel now, okay? So on my 30th birthday, I was exhausted because I had spiraled into this very negative way of eating, and I was weighing myself every day because I wanted to look snatched on my 30th birthday. And my husband planned this really great party. I went to bed at 10 p.m. I couldn't keep up because I was not, protecting my insides properly. And now, 37, so last year when my 36th birthday came around, I felt really good. Could I still wear that dress from back then? No. But I didn't care because how I feel now, I feel better. I feel more accepting of myself. Now, for those of you who you're saying, okay, well, that's great, but I don't feel cool right now. I don't like who I am right now. Okay, so let's unpack why you don't like yourself right now. I'm going to tell you it has very little to do with the weight and more to do with stress from work or unhappy relationships or what's happening in society. We're about to enter another political era, and that's probably going to have a negative impact on the things that you're seeing. So I try to train people to think of it more in that way versus how you looked back then. And also, too, back then, you probably was happy, and that's great. How can you find that same happiness now? And without the dieting, the negative self-talk, and all of that. A lot of people believe that with body confidence and positivity and the movement that it is a permission to be unhealthy. And that's not the case at all, right? We want to create more realistic beauty standards. However, we still want you to be healthy. And so that deals with, okay, your nutrition. What are the different things that you need to feel good? Now, with diabetes, one can have that in any size. There's thin people with diabetes, and there's larger people with diabetes. So what we try to educate to folks is that you still need to see your primary physician. You still need to do your checkups. Actually, working out helps create those positive endorphins, and it actually makes you feel good. So to that Lizzo example I said earlier, outer facing, she is plus size. Some people would assume, oh my gosh, she has diabetes, da da da. Well, she's like, well, I go to the doctor, and my vitals and everything, I'm healthy, right? I'm good. But then you might see a straight-sized person who isn't as healthy, but they're not going to get that same negative undertone because of their outer appearance. So we still recommend working out, eating healthy, getting your sleep. You see I'm wearing this like cute ring. This helps to track my sleep. Okay, it tells me when I need to stand up and start to walk. So taking care of your inside is super important, and that directly impacts different ailments like diabetes and risk of heart attacks and things of that nature. Stress is really, really the biggest factor that can attribute to obesity, to heavy weight gain, heavy weight loss. It's even to the case too, if somebody loses a lot of weight, that's a red flag that something may be wrong in their lives. So it goes twofold. You're going to see a lot of people, influencers in particular, moving away from the word positivity as a whole, because positivity was initially, like the body positivity movement was initially created to represent the marginalized bodies, and it's kind of been glossed over into more imagery like this, and people saying, oh, you need to feel good and look good, and it's like, we like to call it like toxic positivity, right? So now it's transitioned into body confidence, where it's less about what you're wearing and more so how you feel. Now we're going into body neutrality. So that's a whole new phrase where it's taking away the whole physical appearance of the body and not making any comments about the body whatsoever, okay? So yes, there's a space for it. It's being called something else, so not body positivity anymore. You're gonna see now brands soon are gonna start saying confidence, more body neutrality, size inclusivity, and things of that nature. We live in a world where people buy and consume, and companies, they always or try to attach a mission, to their product, because in marketing we know that works. Now, the reason why we're with the BodCon is because we don't sell products with the BodCon. We want to create a safe space that's judgment-free. But sometimes, in order to get people's attention, you got to dangle that carrot. And some people don't even want to have the conversation of confidence or body positivity or body neutrality or whatever word we're using at the moment. So we gotta, get them in the room first and then educate them on, the mission. Some brands are good at that, some aren't as great, but my personal goal, whichever company I'm with, that will always be my forefront, making sure that I'm making an impact on people, and that product and everything else is, that afterthought. Thank you.